All right, guys, this is a take two, and I'm not even upset about it, man. Went to Heroes Con yesterday, June 15th, 2018. Did not stay the whole day, and this was the first year, I think like in 8 years, I actually like going by myself, still saw people I knew and stuff, right? Something about this con, for me, I don't like the word therapeutic, so I'm gonna say magic. Something about going down there and it just ends up being a good day. First time in a while, I haven't stayed the whole weekend or anything like that. And I went down in mind that, I got a few other cons coming on. I've got stuff I've been trying to complete. And I went down there like, I'm going to be focused. Okay. This is exactly what I'm hunting for. And like, I found stuff that is exactly what I was hunting for. Right. And I got to say, man, had a good day. Ended up having a really good evening. Ended up hanging out with an old friend and stuff, right? But what got me is that it was one of those days where on the ride back, I realized, I'm a lucky guy. I'm a lucky guy. I mean, sometimes you just got to slow down and think about it. I got stuck in an hour of traffic going out, but this was a good thing because, like, I posted on Facebook I was there. I didn't know if I was really going to go until I woke up yesterday morning, 6 o'clock, wide awake. Can't even do that for work, right? So, I get up and I go on down there. But on the way back, man, posted on Facebook I was there. A few friends were happy for me and stuff. This is why I'm a lucky guy. I have a lot of friends in a lot of places, and a lot of them don't know each other and stuff, right? And I got message from people on the way back that just, you go a while without, I hear from anybody. Life goes on. Everybody's got life and stuff, man. And got my neighbors getting married. I've watched them like date and all that stuff. And, and I actually hit a point where I was like ready to like walk up to her boyfriend and be like, hey man, you want to man up, and all this stuff. They're getting married, got invited to their wedding, hung out with an old friend last night, saw 2, 3 people at the con. On the way back, started getting these messages. We've got a secret birthday party for a friend that's getting planned for next month. Had a lot of people that I hadn't talked to in years say, hey man, we're thinking about driving down Sunday. You haven't rode down with us in a while, man. Love to hang out. And, you know, and I finally figured out how these are good friends, right? No matter how much time goes by, you pick up right where you left off. You know what I mean? And I'm getting up in age there, man. I laugh about it, I joke about it and stuff, right? And I'm sitting here realizing I've known some of these people for over 30 years, and every now and then we can just pick up where we're at. Pick up, meet up, whatever, and it's right where we left off and stuff, man. Like no time went by, man. You really can't ask for much more than that, man. Because a lot of this stuff I've always said is fleeting, and we get caught up in the rat race and all this stuff like that. And as you get older, man, it's about friendship, people getting back what you kind of put in with some people, man, and it's few and far between. So yeah, I had a moment where I was just like, man, I'm lucky. And I went to bed like at 2 last night. I got home like at 11 and could not fall asleep till 2, man. I was so wired from it. And I'm going back to see some old friends down in Bristol, and I think we're going to go see a band tonight, man. So you talk about burning the candle at both ends, and I'm just so... It's been a rough year, man, and I think I was really due. Man. This is really good. So when I got down to the con and I was focused and all that stuff, met a few creators, talked to them. Chris Claremont ended up showing up unannounced. I think they announced it like a day or two before the con or something. I was standing in line talking to some people, and they kept talking about what they're going to get Claremont to sign. And I thought they were talking about past cons. He was there. I've laid eyes on him, but I wasn't about to stand in line for him. Met Keith Giffen, got him to sign some stuff. Met Pat Broderick, talked to a few other people. I have a short box over here I was going to show. I've got a short box and maybe 2 short boxes of signed comics. So, I've met a lot of these guys and stuff, man. But there's something about when you get to Heroes Con with the way that fandom is about a lot of stuff when it comes to Star Wars and comic books, and Twitter has just ruined a whole lot of comics for me, modern comics and stuff, and things like that. I hate saying ruined, but to get down there and to just be around people who are just good spirited, and for the moment, the cosplay is really first. The cosplay is a couple years ago it was awful, and now it's sort of like it's back to the love of the play. You know what I mean? The good deals that are in comics, people actually talking about comics. What's relevant and not relevant, and it kind of Marvel is irrelevant. You know what I mean? And it's good to be able to talk about comics and stuff like that, and not bring up all of that negativity that's online, because a lot of it does just exist online. You know what I mean? You just walk away, man. It's just like this good feeling. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm trying to say or what I'm trying to do, man, but I'm not going all 60s love child on you or nothing, right? But anyway, I specifically was going to track down this table that has $5 soft covers, $8 for hard covers, right? And they're like brand new, and I found them. But I also ended up finding about an hour later a table I wished I knew was there and would have hit first. Everything was $5, hardbacks, softbacks, everything, right? And that's where I found like the stuff that I was actually looking for. I probably found 95% of what I had in mind for this con. It's time to start completing some of these collections, and there's just things I want. So I've already shot this video and everything's mixed up again, and I got to get out of here to go to Bristol and get cleaned up and all that stuff, right? But I'm going to start with, the stack is backwards, so I'm going to start with the last thing I bought that I found just by accident from looking, caught it out of the corner of my eye at a booth I was already at. But for $5, I got this brand new Dark Knight, A True Batman Story. This is the story of Paul Dini. Guy was writing the Batman animated series. He was writing cartoons. The guy loves Batman. If you know the animated series, you know that is like, including me, a lot of people's the Batman, the pure Batman. Well, in real life, he ended up getting like mugged and beat brutally, and it was traumatizing. And like in the spirit of like Robert E. Howard telling stories about Conan standing behind him while he was writing these stories and stuff like that, he started, I don't want to say hallucinations, but this was so traumatizing, Batman villains started like tormenting him in his mind and stuff, right? And Batman comes up, and it was Batman that helped get him through this. You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about with comics and stories and certain movies for people and stuff, right? I mean, it's considered entertainment, man, but when you get down to the real stuff that's inspiring, makes you look at yourself, touches you, gets you through things, this is what heroes and villains can do. You know what I mean? You know, wherever it comes from. You know what I mean? So I was really excited to get this. I've had my eye on this for a while. That was a fantastic find, $5. I think this was also like $5, but this is the Jim Steranko stuff. I think the Strange Tales, this reprints the Strange Tales stories. It doesn't go into the Shield series, which I would love to talk about. Now, I'm one of those guys that thinks that Jim Steranko was talent in a way that Jack Kirby showed. He's already working in comics a little bit. Jim Steranko, you need to look up his biography. He's done a lot of things. It was amazing. I ran into him. I'll tell that in a minute, right? But this is the book that I think, you know, with the way that comics, the people working in comics now and stuff, the way they are, there's really nothing innovative they're doing. They need to like get handed some Steranko stuff. This guy came up with over 100 ways to tell a story, new ways. He brought in like pop art of the 60s, Andy Warhol, and stuff like that. He came up with the idea of getting people to buy two of the same comics so they can get the spread, a multiple 2 to 4 page spread of a book. You know, he was doing stuff that people working in comics, even Stan Lee didn't get, but they went ahead and went with it and stuff, right? This is just fantastic stuff. Like, you know, Kirby showed him a few tricks on, you know, how to do a comic, and then the guy just ran with it, and this became innovative and stuff, right? It's fantastic stuff. So I'm really happy to get this. Now, when I was actually leaving the con, Steranko showed up late. I met him a couple years ago. Many people have. And he showed up late, so while I'm going up the escalator, he's coming through the little turnstile. He's got his entourage, you know. Fucking guy used to be, you know, looks like he could be one of the Rat Pack, even at the age he is and stuff. And I got to say it, man. I got to say it. Steranko is shrinking as he gets older. It's going to happen to all of us, right? But the man's getting smaller. The wig is staying the same size. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. So anyway, Charlton 66 actually has all of these issues to this 14-issue series from the early 80s, bound in comics. I saw it at his house last year. And I think he sent me a couple issues here and there. I think Comic Hoarder loves this series and stuff. I've had my friends tell him about it. But this is Night Force, I think around 82. This has Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan coming off the magic of Tomb of Dracula and stuff like that. And had this fantastic series that I've heard so much about. I have it in hardback. Guys, you really need to hold this in your hands to appreciate and stuff. This is beautiful. I mean, this is beautiful. I'm really surprised with, like, maybe it's the black. I mean, that's my thing there on some of this stuff. I love the black dark inks you can get with comics and stuff. But this is the complete collection, and I think their first appearance from New Teen Titans and stuff in the backup. But just really great stuff. From what I'm getting and stuff, I may be downplaying it a little bit, maybe under promoting and stuff, man. But I like shows like Supernatural, X-Files, and all this stuff like that. So this was probably like years ahead. This is probably coming out of the 70s paranormal kick and going in straight into horror a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll read this, and I may end up doing a video on that. It's good. $8 for that. And then this is what I went down to get. I think I need High Society. I need Jakka Story. And I need Rick's Story. So I'm down to finally needing 3 volumes to having all the phone book editions of Cerebus. I think I'm under 100 issues. I think I'm in the 90s or somewhere to have the rest of the series, the issues I want, the actual floppies. And these were just really cool to find. We have Minds. This is the 4th book of the Mothers and Daughters story that he had going from like 150 to issue 200 or something like that. And this is the one where he meets Dave Sim. Cerebus meets his creator. Like, I can name a couple books. We know comic books, we know Grant Morrison's inserted himself in Animal Man. Agatha Christie put herself in a Perot novel. I mean, it's been done before. How can I forget? Oh my God, one of my favorite authors. I'm going blank. Breakfast of Champions. Oh, you guys are going to burn me on that one. Kurt Vonnegut. Thank God, Kurt Vonnegut put himself in there and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one, man. And then we have Going Home. Now, I talk about I'm careful when I talk about Cerebus because I love Cerebus's feelings for Jakka. Okay, she doesn't really show up that much over the 300 issues, and she's always that string, that thread that goes through all the stories that humanizes Cerebus. I know he's an aardvark. I don't mean that kind of humanized. He's greedy, cruel streak. Barbarian and all that stuff. Cerebus is, he's a lovable character, but, if he wasn't an aardvark, you'd probably see how despicable he was and things he goes through that humanizes him. You really feel for the guy. He's a tragic character in real life. That's what I'm trying to get. In real life, he plays many roles like we do and stuff. Sim was a genius with that stuff, right? But this is the one from, I read bits and pieces of it. And this is the one where he's finally with Jakka. But they're going back to his homeland because I think his parents are dying or something. And knowing Cerebus as I know Cerebus, and also reading past this storyline stuff, I know he screws it up and stuff. So I'm kind of excited for it, a little invested in that. Jakka is the most normal character in the series. Dave Sim has done 2 videos letting you know where Jakka came from. Jakka was based on a real person and some movie characters and stuff. He did fascinating 2 videos if you're into the characters and stuff about where she came from. But what I've also noticed now that I've collected these phone books and been reading them, if it's one of those things, if you don't know about it, it's not going to bother you, but once you know, but the covers on the actual comics play into the story. They're very important in some issues, not all of them, but quite a few and stuff, right? So yeah, the full Cerebus experience comes with knowing the covers at least, right? So I'm real happy with those, right? And then this was magic. I had that $5, $8 table I mentioned a minute ago, but I didn't know there was another table where everything was $5. They beat their prices. Hardbacks, softbacks, everything, $5. And I went down looking to complete this. I think I double dipped on volume 5 of this, so that means I just need volume 2, which is good. But I want the hardbacks. I found them in softbacks. But when I found this table, it was already being swarmed. And I was just like, damn. I was like, damn. And it swarmed. So I kind of like worked my way into their little nest, getting ready to kind of try to look. I mean, I can't get an elbow in there. And one of the dudes working the booth had flipped up the table, not flipped the table, but tablecloth. And they had more stock underneath their tables in cardboard boxes. And right on top, I look at them, I'm like, is that lock and key? I didn't even say that loud. And I had heads snap and turn. There are people looking for this, right? Probably, I think you can get on YouTube and find a trailer for the pilot that Fox did a few years ago of this, trying to get it going. And I think I've heard Hulu or somebody's going Netflix. Somebody's going forward with it. So that's got to have something to do with it. But Joe Hill, the son of Stephen King and his mother, who's also a novelist, has done a fantastic job of getting out of his dad's shadow if he was ever in it and stuff. If you can get past the first volume, this is one of those books that actually, by the time you get to the 6th volume, each one got better and better. I mean, I absolutely love this series. So here's volume 3. These are just fantastic. I think I might have done a video on this back in the past, but I didn't do it justice. Keys to the Kingdom. and Clockworks. Just fantastic. I highly recommend Lock and Key, man. All right, so like I said, I was pretty much content. I found what in my mind I was wanting to do, and I still looked around. And I found 50-cent boxes, and I found a box where it was 5 comics for $1. I found a dealer that had a bunch of boxes, 5 for $1. So I hit those, and I was just content with what I found. A few more issues of Cerebus. 170. Get my dirty, nasty fingerprints on this. One 168. Now, this cover, I obviously have seen a lot of covers. This cover is something I would love to have turned into a poster. This is fantastic. There's a mood with this. I don't know. I mean, I know this is the chess piece. I know this is Astoria. I know what's going on in the story here. But so maybe me knowing the story, but that adds a certain, I'm drawn to this thing. The blacks, the whites, everything like that. I think that's just fantastic. This is something I would blow up in frame. Get rid of the logo here and stuff like that. I mean, it's just fantastic. I'm not going to hark on Kurt Busiek, my disappointment with the guy after seeing his Twitter activity and all this stuff. I love his work. But this is probably the last series of work I'm going to get from him. This current volume of Astro City is ending with issue 52. If it hasn't ended already, I'm kind of done, which is sad. I've been with Astro City from day one back in the 90s and stuff. And then Autumn Lands came out. I think this might complete the set, but Autumn Lands came from an idea he had for Commandy that he couldn't do at DC, so he kind of morphed it into Tooth and Claw Autumn Lands. That's number 2, number 10, so finished that. This right here, I'm trying to move on. I don't want a long video, but we're already there. This is a reprint of X-Men number 3. Then it's got a backup Cyclops story from the X-Men around the 40s issue, sort of a Cyclops origin issue, if you will. But this is first appearance. This is a reprint of the first appearance of the Blob. Probably the first X-Men book I read when I was a kid was X-Men number 3. My stepdad had it. And we had potbelly stoves. I'm going to say, I'm up here in the mountains and stuff, but I knew potbelly stoves. I felt the dry heat that comes off of them. We've had bats fly down the chimney and come out of them and stuff, and I know how hot they get. So I'm sitting here and I'm like reading stories of like Superman when he was a baby, getting a pet gorilla alien that had 4 hands, and the whole issue is about how he's going to take care of them, and he builds a cage, trying to make them comfortable, finds them food and everything like that. Then I picked this up, and Blob, the X-Men are aware of this circus that has the Blob in it and stuff, right? And the Blob was written so much better in this than I've seen him in years and stuff, because he was a tough guy, right? The X-Men come in there, the Blob talks some shit to him, he's chomping on a cigar, and he starts showing how tough he is. And he opens up the pot-bellied stove, and he pulls out a piece of wood with embers on it, and he puts it out with his hand and stuff. And as a little kid, I'm like, oh, he's tough. But this was so good. This is where these Silver Age books, it was so cool to see an appearance of first characters. They would take time to kind of like show you what they can do and stuff through storytelling and stuff, instead of just telling you. It was just really good, John Byrne's Marvel team-up run with Spider-Man is something I'm always trying to find. He was a penciler and stuff like that. And apparently, I need to look up the Marvel 2-in-1s he did. I cannot believe I found a Thing Deathblock. I mean, this was 50 cents. That's why I'm really surprised. That is a George Perez, Terry Austin cover. You open it up, and we got John Byrne art in there. Just fantastic. I think it's from 79. Picked up 2 things. I had a bunch of stuff I was going to get Keith Giffen to sign. And then I found these. I had these here, but I found them for 50 cents a piece. I'm like, why not? This is Ambush Bug. I don't see how you can meet Keith Giffen and not at least talk about Ambush Bug with him. But I got this because this was hard to find. I already have a copy. I can't believe I found the second one for 50 cents even, which in my mind, nobody else is going to get that. But anyway, because Ambush Bug meets Neil Gaiman's Sandman. You talk about one end of the scale to the other end of the scale with what DC was doing back then, and it was like those 2 tips of the scale met, in this, when you have Ambush Bug meeting Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and it's still funny. And kind of wish, with the current state of Marvel the last couple years, man, they're making the new universe look like freaking gold, in my opinion, and I've really fought the urge to complete the new universe, but I would have loved to have seen, Giffen did this issue for penciling, and then he did an issue of Starbrand, and looking back on it and stuff, I kind of wish Giffen would have just gotten a hold of the entire, they should just gave the new universe to Giffen, see what would happen back then. All right, so, I don't know where my sign, yeah, I got my signed comics in here. These were 5 for $1. I'm always looking out for oddball Bernie Wrightson stuff, especially from the 70s and 80s and stuff, and the 90s and stuff. But I ended up completing my Captain Stern miniseries from Kitchen Strength by him. Captain Stern busting from the pages of heavy metal, busting from the movie of heavy metal. That was really cool to find. Martial Law #1. I could talk about martial law all day. Tim Merritt has made a video, maybe last year or something, of the complete collection of martial law books. Look at martial law. You might like them. This is the bastard cousin to me of Watchmen and Dark Knight. This is the third book that was, to me, was important. I know we have Mouse. I don't want to put it above Mouse by any means, but this book to me really was important for the 80s and stuff, right? Got a bunch of Elric books that came out. The Balance Lost. Like I said, 5 for $1. You either know Elric or you don't. You know I love him. I don't love him, but I'm a fan. All right, and then I can't believe I found these. I collected Stray Bullets when it first came out. David Lapham had gone from Valiant to Defiant, then he's doing his own thing. I'm in. The guy was trained, molded into shape by Brady Winslow Smith and Jim Shooter. I could do a whole video about his story, about how this guy got into comics and like that. But I found some early issues of later issues of his first series of Stray Bullets. I hung in there till around 16 or 17, then it just wasn't on the shelves anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it wasn't selling. I know it wasn't selling out, but I always it kind of bummed me out. I didn't really jump on board too much and stuff like that. But to find any books from that first series, I'm down. Then when I met, I can talk about some of the creators I talked to and stuff like that. But the two that I want to pick, because I've only got a few books signed, the two I want to pick, again, it's that scale. You know what I mean? Of like a good experience versus a whatever experience. Pat Broderick. Not going to bash the guy. He wasn't rude to me, but there's no talking to him, right? He charged $5 for. I went ahead and did it. I've got a short box and maybe another short box full of books I've had signed the last couple of years, right? So I'm kind of over it. But it's Pat Broderick, So he signed this, the Doom. I went with this. I didn't go with the Captain Atom. I didn't go with my Firestorm. I can go on with this guy, right? It's kind of cool. I'm a fan of Doom, so that was kind of cool. But when he signed it, I was just trying to be like, how much you charge? He's like, $5. I'm like, man, I loved your work in Captain Atom. It's great to meet you. And he's like, hey, man, I'm selling this. You can only get it from here, from me, from a store online. He started like shilling his stuff, and which is fine. They're there to make money. I paid him his $5 for his autograph. I reached the point with him. I was in my head. I was thinking, just sign the fucking book. I want to go on. But he was just trying to like sell stuff and stuff like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but after you meet Keith Giffen, Keith Giffen is, he's not going to get all chummy with you and stuff, but the dude is exactly like one of his characters out of Justice League. I don't think Justice League was like a creation. I think he just brought in heroes into his world, right? I got a picture of us on Facebook, and it was so cool talking to him, man. I walked up to him, and I don't know why. I'm not saying I click, but I get these old school guys. I get them. And I just walked up to him, and I was like, I walked right up to him, I was like, I'm so glad, I'm glad to finally get to meet you after all these years. I said, I've been doing this since 77. And I said, I always knew I had a lot of your work, but until I started digging through my books for this con to meet you, you caused me a lot of problems last night. He was right there with me on it, man. He was like, oh, well, and all this stuff, right? So we started joking around. Great guy, man. Oh, my God. I love when I meet these guys, and they're so freaking cool. So he was going back, and then I finally touched on something. I got to tell him about, if you watch my channel, you know why this book is important to me. It's not the original, it's my upgrade. I don't want my original, with ink on it. He charges the first one free, then after that, I think it increases $5 per book or something. Kevin McGuire signed this years ago, so of course I had to get Giffen to sign this one out of everything I brought. But I sat there and I looked at him and was able to talk to him. He cut a few jokes, it was just... it was just so weird because like you felt like he didn't, when he made that Justice League book, as funny as it was, I'm now getting that he didn't make those characters funny. He took those characters and brought him into his world. Giffen, when I walked up, Giffen was joking with somebody while I was talking to him. Some guy was giving him a little bit of shit. They're just wise guys, man. They're wise guys. Like, if you don't know what a wise guy is, it was something that went on in the 50s up to about the 70s that I saw it on. You can watch old episodes of Shana Na, and you can see what a wise guy is. They're just old wise guys, man. I just freaking loved it. But he's pulled those. He doesn't change characters or make them funny on purpose. It's like this is his world. This is like he pulled those characters into his world. And I told him, I was like, I know you wrote hundreds of comics, so if you don't remember this, it's no big deal. But I said, I think my favorite issue of everything you guys did in Justice League was Justice League Europe #3, where you had him in the French class. He was right on it, and he went, me and Demantes was talking, and we decided that the 3 issues that are the epitome of our Justice League, what we were doing and what we were trying to do, was that one. That was right on top of the list. He said Moving Day was Justice League. That's like Justice League #8, I think. Or something. I mean, I was right there, man. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden he went in Justice League Antarctica. Yeah, and he was like, that annual? And I'm like, do I know that annual? I was like, you don't know who the hell you're talking to here, Keith. So it was really cool meeting him and talking to him, being warm and finding out he's a character out of his own books. I mean, I get it now. After meeting him, you realize he doesn't change these characters. He pulls them into his world. That's when you read those Justice League books, that's Keith Giffen's world, man. I'm like, that's awesome, right? Ambush bug and all that stuff. So he's like that in real life. Don't let the gruff appearance look at him. I don't know if he's from New York or something, but I think it's where some of that comes up, man. But it was a fantastic, like 5 or 10 minutes for what it was, man. A lot of life happened in that little amount of time, man. So I just shook his hand and said, it was great meeting you. And he was like, yeah, have a great weekend and stuff. And you can't ask for much more. All right, guys, I got to get off here. I got to get dressed, ride an hour down the road, see some friends. I think we're seeing a band or something tonight or something. And I got to recover from yesterday. This 4 hours of sleep shit's got to end. Be excellent to each other.